Hi coders, CS Time channel here, and this video is about Java polymorphism, dynamic polymorphism, polymorphism advantages, disadvantages, rules for overriding, and polymorphism examples in Java. There are two kinds of Java polymorphism: overloading or static polymorphism, and overriding or dynamic polymorphism. Our focus in this video is overriding. Overriding happens when subclass has the same method as declared in the parent class. It performs a single action by different ways, and also the ability to have many forms. Overriding has advantages such as ability to provide specific implementation of a method that is already provided by its superclass. It provides multiple implementation of the same method and can be used to invoke parent class overridden method using super keyword. And disadvantages are runtime polymorphism can lead to the performance issue as machine needs to decide which method or variable to invoke, so it's basically degrade the performance as decisions are taken at runtime. It also reduces the readability of the code. Here are rules for overriding. Method must have the same name as in the parent class. Method must have the same parameter as in the parent class, and must be is a relationship or inheritance. Let's see the examples. In the first example, we have animal class. The animal class has food variable and make sounds method. And if another class, in this case is cat class, want to override the method belong to the animal class, then this cat class must have a method that has the same name as animal class, which is make sounds. And then this make sounds method has to have the same parameters as in the parent class. And then the cat class must extend the animal class, or there is inheritance relationship. By doing this, then the cat can have specific implementation of a method make sounds. Let's see another example. Here we have a person class. This person class has two variables name and age and has one method named walk. If another class, say for example, student class and professor class, want to override the method belong to the person, then these two classes, which is student class and professor, must have the same method as in the parents. The same with professor here. And then this method must have the same parameter as in the parents. In this case, we don't have parameters. And then student and professor must extend the person class, or the relationship is inheritance relationship or is a relationship. By doing this, we can have multiple implementation of the same method, which is student will have its own implementation of walk method and professor will have its own implementation of walk method. We will see it in Java programming using Eclipse. Here I have a class named person. As in our example, the person has two variables and one method like this, name and age as well as walk method. And it will have its own implementation like this. We also have two other classes, as we can see here, student, and one more is professor like this. And if we want the student and professor to override the method belong to the person, then student and professor must have the same method as in the person, like this for the student, and for the professor also like this. So professor and student now have the same method named walk. Another thing to pay attention is the parameter of the method that you want to override in the professor and in the student has to be the same with the parameter in the parent. In our case here, has no parameter. So three of them has no parameter. And then finally, these two classes must have is a relationship. So the student extends the person, the same with the professor extend the person like this. By doing like this, student and professor now can have their own implementation. So here the implementation is a person can walk. Then we can copy this to the student. Now the student, we can change it to a student walk fast like this. And then we can also copy this and then put it to the professor with its own implementation like this. Now let's run the program. Here is the result. Let's see the logic. When we run this program, then the object for the student is created. The same with the object for the professor is created here. And then when we call the walk method using the student object, it will call the student method. This is what we call with specific implementation. Student can have its own implementation of the method. The same with professor. When we call the walk method using professor object, it will call the method walk belong to the professor with its own implementation. By doing this also, a student and a professor have different implementation. This is what we call with multiple implementation. If you learned something from this video, please subscribe and like for more videos. Thanks for watching.